So it's about 9:30 p.m. here Eastern Time, which means it's about 4 hours since the end of the Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky game at the United Center in Chicago. And per my sources, Kelsey Mitchell is still in the United Center draining three-pointers. She's still in there. She's still draining them. The game's been over for 4 hours now. She's still in there draining three-pointers. They're trying to get the court up, the Chicago Sky court that they took from whatever 10,000 seat theater they normally play in, which is rarely ever full. They're trying to get that up so they can send that back to theirs. They have to wait till she moves from a spot to start shooting threes in another spot to get the floor up. They're trying to put up, I guess, if there's going to be a concert or something, they're trying to put that up. She just won't get out of the way. She keeps shooting, and they're getting a little perturbed there, but oh well, that's too bad for them. Kelsey's going to keep shooting. The Indiana Fever already had to take their plane back to Indy. They had to leave her there because she wouldn't stop shooting threes, so they're going to have to send a plane to, bring her back at some point if she ever stops. But, man, what a game. What a game. 35 points on, seven or eight made three-pointers. I actually watched this game, so, hey, this rivalry between Indiana and Chicago, it's a big deal. You know, the two star players, well, one's a star player, one's really not, but, you know, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese weren't in this game, and I was interested in watching it. I just wanted to see the Chicago Sky get beat. It's a rivalry. You got to love it, you know, Never thought I'd be rooting against Chicago hoops, you know, growing up as a big Jordan fan, but, you know, in the house he built, I wanted to see Indiana take over, and they did. It wasn't as impressive as their first victory there when the Chicago Sky actually had Angel Reese. Something I'll get into here in a second because I think they look better without her, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. But Kelsey just absolutely shot the lights out of the place. And that's a lot of lights to shoot out. That's a big place. I remember when they first moved there from the Chicago Stadium, which was a much smaller. It had about 18,000 seats, so the seating capacity didn't increase a ton, but all the seats were right on top of the court, and it was loud. The old Chicago Stadium, and all the players were like, "Oh, I miss this place. I miss the old place," even though the United Center was a lot nicer, just because the sound was there. But it's a lot of lights, and Kelsey Mitchell shot every single one of them out. She did great. That was a great game by her. As you guys probably know, I really, really like her game. I have for a long, long time, ever since that's probably her and Aaliyah Boston were two of the people I really grabbed a hold of, you know, when I started watching the Indiana Fever when Caitlin Clark joined them. I was already attached to Caitlin, but it's worth it now just to watch Kelsey and Aaliyah go. Aaliyah had kind of a quiet game for her, but you know she did good. She did a good job. She did her role. Got the rebounds, got some blocks. I think she blocked Camila Cardoso, who's like 3 or 4 inches taller than her. South Carolina teammates. You know, she did a good job, but Kelsey just absolutely shot them to victory because there's a bunch of times there, or a couple times there in the second half. Chicago, I mean, they claw back to them like 5 or 6 points, and you're like, oh, here we go again. You know, another blown fourth quarter, and Kelsey would just drain a three, and then another three, and then another three. Or my personal favorite, when she just tries that lane and makes a layup and in amongst the redwoods. You know, she's, I think, 5'8", which means she's 5 inches shorter than the average WNBA player, and so she's probably giving up 8 or 9 inches to a lot of these women in the front court there when she goes in for the layup, and just she didn't care. She barrels in there, makes the layup the majority of the time. Just, you know, fearless. And that's why I always compare her to Allen Iverson. You know, I'm not trying to compare their games directly, but so many times watching Allen Iverson, he'd do something like that, and I'd sit there and be like, he can't do that. He's too small to do that. But he did it. It's so fun to watch. That's how Kelsey Mitchell is. I find myself doing the same thing. I'm like, she's too small to do that. And she's another one that's very, very fluid in her movements, very agile. You know, she's much smaller, so she's not, you don't have as much to move around, which helps her, but she's still an amazing athlete, and She just looks like she belongs on a basketball court. She's not clunky. She's very coordinated. Like I said, it's just super quick. When she makes up her mind on something, she makes it up quick and does it quick. So it's been so much fun watching her. It really is. I'm so glad they brought her back and hope they hang on to her. So, great job by her. Like I said, Aaliyah, I feel like, did a good job. They didn't need a ton out of her tonight or today, but she did her part. She did her role. It's not going to show up on the stat sheet, but I feel like she really did a lot for them. Chloe Bibby, our new person, we just signed her. I think to a 7-day contract. I don't know if it's the same thing as the hardship contract or not. I don't know how all that works, but I like what I saw out of her. I'm gonna call her Big Red. She's got that red hair. Is about 6'2". She could move. For a big girl, she could move. She ran the floor well, drained 2 threes, blocked a shot. She only played like 10 minutes, I think. I wish she would have played more. Hopefully she'll play a little bit more. They didn't play Natasha Howard very much. I guess they figured she kind of didn't have it tonight. I like Natasha, but I'm starting to wonder if we shouldn't just probably focus on, obviously, Michaela Timpson. She had an amazing game. We should really focus on Michaela and try to get Chloe, see if we can find her a permanent spot on the roster. I hate to call for Damaris Dantas, who I've also fallen in love with. She was on the team last year. Hate to call for her to be kicked off the roster, but I think they have something in Chloe Bibby. She, like I said, she's tall. She can play in the post. She got some block shots, but she can spread the floor and shoot some threes. And we saw that already. And I think that's what this team needs. They need that, younger, more athletic team. And Michaela Timpson fits that perfectly as well. Michaela, the commentators are talking about it. It's been the talk all online. She made a rebound. She just jumped up and took the rebound. You don't see that. Like I said, especially a lot of these ladies on the inside of the WNBA, they can't really jump. They kind of have to stand there and wait for the rebound to come to them and try to catch it, which can be a little bit of an adventure at times. And that's one thing Angel Reese is great at. When the ball comes to her, she catches it and doesn't let it bounce around all over the place, unlike just about everybody else in the middle. But, Michaela Timpson jumped up, and, I feel like she could have dunked the ball as high as she jumped. Maybe not quite dunked, but, she was right there just to pick it out of the air. That's one of the things I'd like to start seeing more is, some of these just, I don't want to see in a completely above the rim game. I don't want to see a completely below the rim game. I don't want to see only layups and dunks. I don't want to see only shots. I want to see a little bit of a mixture of everything. So that showed a lot. She's got a lot of athleticism, and I think that quickness and athleticism is what this team needs, especially if you're building around Caitlin Clark when she gets healthy. She needs people that are going to run, be athletic, that can jump like that. Lexi Hull, she had a good game. She did her normal stuff. I know she's kind of been supplanted in the starting lineup by Sophie Cunningham, the other half of the Hollywood Blondes. I'm gonna give these people nicknames. I'm gonna keep calling them that till the internet picks up on them, but just kidding. I know it's not gonna happen, but she hit some pretty clutch shots. She had a buzzer beater, I think, at the end of the third quarter. She had some hang time. She jumped and kind of held in the air while one of the Chicago players swatted at it and let it go. And after she fell back and went in. So that's pretty cool. That's what I want to see. That's what I think the team needs. They need fast, athletic players that are willing to. I hate to say young players because Kelsey Mitchell's not as young as people think she is. She's not as young as she looks. She's certainly not as young as she plays. She plays like a youngster full of energy. She's got a motor. But I think that's why they need to keep Chloe Bibby and find a way to keep her on there. I think she would be great alongside Caitlin, just like Michaela Timpson is. Can't believe we got her in the second round. What a steal! Just like Ari McDonald will be, as long as they're not trying to have her take over the ball handling duties. I think they can. I think she can take over at some, so Caitlin doesn't have to worry about being pressed 94 feet every single possession of the game that she's in. And I think Chloe Bibby would be great for her. So a lot of good there. Like I said, we didn't beat Chicago as good as we beat them last time when they had Angel Reese. I want to give a shout out to Rachel Bannum of Chicago. She did amazing. She worked, she tried, she played her guts out. She had like 26 points. Just I mean, she did an amazing job, and I give her a lot of credit. To be on such a bad team, a team with such bad morale. You look at somebody like Camila Cardoso just not really giving effort out there, not giving nearly the effort she should, and you got Rachel Banham out there still having pride and going out there and playing like she should, and that was inspiring to see. I'm very proud of her, and I feel glad that I had the chance to watch her play. Um, yeah, Angel Reese went in the game, and the Chicago Sky did better than they did last time they played Indy in the United Center, which Caitlin Clark was not there for that one either. For that was her first or second injury, as opposed to now she's on her third injury. Um, but she without her just clogging up the middle, they just seem to be better. Obviously, they're still a bad team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming everything on Angel, but I think trying to run an offense through her is just a no-win situation. She's a ball stopper. She's, like I said, very uncoordinated. Her passing's not that great, and obviously her shooting, even though it's improved, is still not where it needs to be. So it might be time for them to move on from Angel and Camila, the class of 24, I guess you could call them. They're two first-round picks that just they have not panned out like they thought they would. So, but hey, like I said, got to see the division rival, or not division, but their Midwestern rival get beaten. So that was pretty cool. Rivalry is a good thing. So it's a pretty cool rivalry they got going on. Caitlin Clark signing all the autographs in Chicago again. I think it was Barbie night again, if I'm not mistaken, and she's signing all the Chicago Sky Barbie stuff. Uh, it's crazy. Just crazy, but a lot of fun. That was a fun one to watch. The WNBA has been pretty frustrating lately and anything but fun, but that was a fun game to watch. That was a fun afternoon, or fun couple hours on a Sunday afternoon to just kick back and watch some sporting. So that was cool. I like that. And like I said, hopefully we can get Caitlin back. Hope we don't rush her. I like what I'm seeing out of the team, and if she can, if they can, get her back and let her practice a few more times before they let her in when she's ready. Unlike the last time, have that more of a seamless transition. You might see Indiana make a pretty good playoff run for a higher seed. Maybe a 4 or 5 seed, and who knows? Maybe surprise some people in the playoffs, make a deep run. So we'll have to see. Congrats to the Fever. Congrats to Kelsey. Congrats to Chloe Bibby. That was a good debut for just 10 minutes. Hopefully they'll give her some more minutes in the future. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.